We're Kathy and Gary Heimbach. We're from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. We camped for years and years. We started out with tent camping, pop-up campers, regular campers. We've had tow trailers for several years, but our short-term, long-term plan was to go to Alaska in 2024 for at least 3 months. So we wanted something that was going to withstand the roads and be problem-free. So we started looking around. We found Brinkley, had been watching and following them for about a year, read about all their construction, all their great add-ons that would have been a little different than our other camper. And even though it's laid out exactly the same as our other camper, it's totally different.
The Brinkley is, I think, a whole new concept on the fifth wheel. The design is automotive style. It's very sleek.
I love just the modern look inside, how bright it was, and it was easy to decorate. The cabinets are great. They're all wood. They're not particle board. And I just love that it can still be modern but homey.
And we researched the company and talked to the owners, and we were convinced that was the fifth wheel we wanted to go with. And then that was the company we wanted to partner with.
This one was wired for solar and had a solar panel on top. And so our idea was, great, we're going to have solar, we can stay without power for a couple of days. But then we figured out, we were going to need a little bit more than that. Battery power wouldn't last as long. So my husband started researching more, found out about the lithium batteries and more solar components.
I have a friend that built out a fifth wheel 2 years ago. And during our conversations, I was like, why didn't you just spend the money on a generator? You could have had a really nice generator set up. And he said, Gary, when we camp at these dispersed camping spots, government-owned lands. And he said, I didn't want to be the guy in the campground that had a generator running all night. And the more I thought about that, I thought to myself, I don't want to be that guy either. I don't want to be that guy out there running the generator. Here you're out in nature, camping, and you don't want to be sitting outside listening to your own generator, let alone listening to somebody else's generator. So Kathy and I had in mind that we wanted to do this power system for the RV. And I was researching, trying to learn the solar and the inverter technology for RVs. Victron came to the very, very top surface. I mean, they were the best equipment that's out there. There's no doubt about that. So that's what led me to Victron. And it was confusing to me. I knew a little bit. I was picking up on it. And we got to the point where we wanted to have it done, but I wanted to do it one time. I didn't want to spend a ton of money to find out, once I got it all put together, that, geez, if I would have just done it a little bit differently, or if I would have picked different components or different batteries or the whole system, I would have been much, much further ahead. And so that's when we decided we needed to reach out to a person that specializes in that industry and could help us design and put that together properly.
My name is Ken Smith. I'm with Adventure Van Systems in Missoula, Montana. We install electrical systems, heaters, fans, windows, and so forth in Adventure Vans. We also do electrical system installations in RVs. One of the great things about the Brinkley Model Zs is the layout that they set up at the factory with the electrical system and the equipment bay. Their electrical system is very accessible, very centralized, and they've thought ahead to accommodate people installing additional electrical components by providing a large equipment bay and have pre-wired it to help us out in many cases.
And around Oklahoma, there wasn't really people doing that for RV trailers. So we started looking online through Facebook forums and of course through the Brinkley forums, and that led us to Ken here in Missoula, Montana.
We corresponded back and forth on email, and then we talked over the phone. And if you've ever talked to somebody that you kind of make this instant connection, he's the right guy for this job. And during those conversations, what I think I wanted versus what I really wanted changed.
When we first start an interview with a client, we try to determine what they want to power with their electrical system and how long they want to power it. This helps us determine the size of the battery bank we'll need, the size of the charging equipment we'll need, and any inverters.
He was very good, not pushy. Here's possibilities. This is what you can do. Ken did not push me to get this bigger system. He wanted to know what I wanted, and he worked within those parameters.
Realistically, if we're going to Alaska, there may be at least a week before we plug in, if not more, because you're traveling out in the remote and you're probably just going to pull off and you're going to be right by this beautiful stream and you're not going to have a way to plug in. So we wanted to make sure that our food was to where we could keep it cold and safe. We can maybe use our TV, watch some movies. So it just led from what we thought initially would be maybe, a day or two to at least a week.
In the case of Gary and Kathy's system, they had already purchased the batteries before they contacted us. Typically in a system this size, we would have started with a 24 or 48 volt battery bank, but we can easily make a 12 volt system work.
So initially, Ken had designed a system for us. He was going to ship us all the equipment, all the schematics, so my husband could install it. That wouldn't be a problem. And then we had plans that we were going to be in South Dakota with some friends, and we thought we're only 8 hours away, so we would rather drive that little bit more, have Ken install it. He could show us the whole system, how it's supposed to run.
I rewired your solar panels so that they feed this. If you shut the coach down, put it in storage mode, solar panels will still charge. Their RV is set up with 3 sources for charging: solar power, shore power, and alternator charging from the vehicle. Kathy and Gary came to us with 2 370 watt solar panels on their roof. We connected those to a 50 amp charge controller. We also installed a second 50 amp charge controller that will allow them to add additional solar panels in the near future. That will help them extend their time without having to plug into shore power. We also installed 2 multi-plus inverter chargers in parallel for shore power and a 30 amp Orion that will charge from the tow vehicle's alternator while they're driving.
From my perspective in the fifth wheel industry or RV industry, going solar is new technology that's developing now. And I see a lot of interest. People like that idea. But there's such a learning curve because this is all new. So it's hard for a DIY person to do it themselves and get it totally right the first time. And in my case, I thought, I can do this. I kind of understand the Victron products. I can probably pick out what I need, and I was looking that way and then realized, man, there's so much more to this. And you really need to have an expert design it and tell you the ins and outs of the products.
One of the benefits of using Victron components is they have a variety sizes for each component, making it easy for us to tailor a system to the needs of each user.
See, and I don't think there's a cookie cutter system that is right for every fifth wheel or RV owner. I think every RV owner has to have an idea of what their expectations are and then design the system to their needs. So I have multiple sclerosis. So heat is a factor. If I get overheated, that shortens my day. So it's important when we are traveling that if we can pull over for lunch, have lunch, and I can lay down in the bedroom, turn on the air conditioner, and maybe rest for an hour, I'm okay for the rest of the day. So that is a huge factor of why we've put this system together. You know, and right now in the Southwest, you go to stop for lunch and it's 110 degrees. You either have to have a generator or you have to have a power system so you can have a little air back there.
Because Kathy and Gary wanted to use their air conditioners from their battery bank, we installed Multiplus 2 2x120s in parallel. The Multiplus 2 2x120 is set up for the North American RV market with a system designed to connect to a 50 amp shore power service and pass through the full 50 amps when connected. By connecting two Multiplus 2 2x120s in parallel, Kathy and Gary will be able to run both air conditioners for a short amount of time or one air conditioner indefinitely, along with all of their other systems, limited only by the size of their battery bank.
I would say, talking to Ken, that he's given us so many possibilities that we can travel and do so many things, and we won't be tied to an electric cord, but we can be if we want. But he's given us so many options, and actually he's given us a lot of freedom.
We have joined Harvest Host, which is an overnight stay, maybe be at a farm or a brewery or a winery. It's a one-night stay type of deal. Most of those do not have any hookups. You're staying on somebody's farmland. And we wanted to be able to run the air conditioner or have the microwave, and that was it. We're not looking to stay out in the woods for a month, you know, off grid. That's not what we're looking for. But also, I'm not one that I don't want to camp in a campground that has 500 people either.
They'll easily be able to camp for 24 hours or more using their air conditioners and all their RV systems. If they're camped in a cooler climate without air conditioning, they'll be able to camp indefinitely with the system that's installed.
Brinkley was awesome for us because they kind of gave us this foundation, these building blocks to do solar. Put this idea in our head that our camper had these solar capabilities, and then we just ran with it. And what they did with the pre-wiring made everything so much easier for our installer, Ken Smith. So we could decide to stay longer, cut it short, but that way we have the options and the freedom knowing that our solar power will allow us to do that.